There is an added patriotic buzz in the building with Monday being Veterans Day. And to help celebrate, moments ago you saw Andrew Luck running out with one of the members of our military.
In honor of Military Appreciation Day, Lieutenant Colonel Michael McClendon had the honor of running out of that tunnel with Andrew Luck. What was that like?
It's a great feeling. It's a great day to be part of the military, and it's a great day to be a part of the Indianapolis Colts organization. Just a tremendous feeling.
A Special Forces officer, sir, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chris, we'll send it back up to you.
And thanks, Jennifer. I know the players were just as excited to be able to run out alongside a veteran. And Tim, I speak for all of us here. We appreciate what our servicemen and women and their families have done and continue to do through Veterans Day weekend.
Yeah, we know who our heroes are. So do those players.
The roof is closed here. The Rams won the toss, but are kicking off, so they'll get it to start the second half, and that's Greg Zuerlein. David Reed back to receive. And Week 10 is underway. Rams and Colts from Indianapolis, and a touchback. So from the 20-yard line, we'll get a look at Andrew Luck and how he takes on this Ram defense. And across the board, Tim, this Colt offense, fewest turnovers in the league, also the fewest penalties.
Conduct, taunting, kicking team, number 24, 15-yard penalty, first down.
A taunting call against Isaiah Peed, the backup running back.
And here's the taunt right here in the end zone, gets right in the face and starts jawing. And I mean, that's been a point of emphasis, the last couple of years, not going to deal with it. And so instead of at the 20, the Indianapolis Colts will start at the 35-yard line. Big penalty.
All right, so Jeff Fisher likes aggressive play, but not stupid play. And Pete has not contributed much as a player on the field for this Ram franchise. And that penalty sets up Luck and the Colts at the 35. T.Y. Hilton in motion. And he has the football across the 40-yard line. And they've had 5 starters go down from the beginning of the year on offense, and yet they just keep on rolling.
Yeah, it's amazing what Pep Hamilton's been able to get out of this group. Of course, T.Y. Hilton exploded last week with the 3 touchdowns. Offensive tackles are playing well, and the Indianapolis Colts are going with the hurry-up offense.
Here comes a flag.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 98. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's on Kendall Langford. We've had 3 plays, 2 penalties on the Rams. Referee Terry McCauley, who is coordinator of football officials for the Big East Conference. And a fresh set of downs for the Colts, now up to the 47-yard line. They've talked about wanting to emphasize the running game with Trent Richardson in. Let's see if they do that. He gets the pitch. The Rams are ready for him. The Rams talked about being fired up when they hear about another team talking about wanting to run the ball against them. They want to shut them down, obviously, and they were run on last week.
They were, and these 2 guys right here in the middle are really the key to the game. Kendall Langford, Michael Brockers, they've got to be on point. Good linebacking core led by James Laurinaitis. We're going to see Janoris Jenkins, number 21, in the obvious passing down, shadowing T.Y. Hilton today.
Hey, Mike 55, lucky. Check out. No. 290.
Second down 10 for Luck. Underneath to Hilton, who's got running room. He's got a first down inside the Ram 40. Hilton has been a star, but became more of a star with the season-ending injury to Reggie Wayne.
Boy, this guy is so quick, and when these Colts are playing fast, it's just going to put added pressure on that defense, really take the game planning out of the coach's hand and put it on these players, see if they can handle it.
Inside the 40.
Hurry!
On first down, Richardson goes down at the 45-yard line. Met hard by Kendall Langford. Jeff Fisher said he has to play better inside. Our tackles have to play well to stop the run after giving up nearly 200 yards against Tennessee.
They were awful, and it's all about penetration. Awful last week against Houston in the run game. Terrific against Seattle 2 weeks ago. That's the kind of run defense they need to play today, because they know as well as we do The Indianapolis Colts and their offensive coordinator, Pep Hamilton, told us the other day, they're a run-first offense, especially with losing Reggie Wayne, those young wide receivers. Limiting that ground game would be huge for St. Louis.
A 3-yard loss. Hilton at the bottom of your screen moving around. Jenkins trying to stay with him on 2nd and 13. Incomplete, trying to get it to Richardson. Luck had to move around in the pocket, and Rodney McLeod started at corner for Cortland Finnegan, who is going to play in the nickel and be in a backup role. Was on the coverage. It's 3rd down.
They're going to have their opportunities, that being the Rams, to get hits and pressures on Andrew Luck today. Chris, he holds the ball. He's got so much toughness. He's so resilient. He's not afraid to get hit. There's going to be opportunities as he's holding it, looking for open receivers to get shots on him.
He comes in with only 3 interceptions, 13 touchdowns. Luck completing 58% of his passes. Ball is out. That is a fumble, and the Rams have it. Chris Long, I think he's going to make it in the end zone for a touchdown. And a salute to the troops.
This is going to be a career sack number for Robert Quinn coming off the edge. His 11th sack. He is going to be a major problem for Anthony Costanzo all day. Nothing but a speed rush. Watch him run the corner and then knock the ball out when he gets there. They tried it with 2. Doesn't matter. He knocks it out. Perfect bounce into Chris Long. That's the momentum that the St. Louis Rams needed. Big time play.
The Rams' last 2 games have ended on last moment passes where they could have won or tied, contributing to their 3-game losing streak. But the defense with a big play, and now Greg Zuerlein to make the extra point and make it a 7-0 game. We were just talking about the fewest turnovers by this Colts team and the fewest penalized team. And for Chris Long, that 45-yard fumble recovery sets up the Rams rather nicely here on the road.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Tim Ryan and Chris Myers in the open. We talked about a foursome that's becoming more fearsome, and Robert Quinn, his 11th sack of the season, leads the NFC. That's a career high, and Chris Long with his first touchdown right away, putting pressure and heat on one of the top quarterbacks in the league as Zuerlein kicks off. From the end zone, it's Herron, and a big special teams play. Knocked out short of the 7-yard line, Stedman Bailey, the rookie receiver. And the Colts off to a tough start.
Boy, you can get receivers to run down and cover kicks like this. Money in the bank. Receivers aren't supposed to cover and tackle and hit like that.
They were talking about his work during the week and that he'd be more a part of the offense for the Rams.
It looks like he got a little shoulder stinger too. Just grabbing his shoulder like, oh, all right.
Meanwhile, the Colts coming off that emotional comeback victory. Now at the 7-yard line, and Donald Brown has checked in at running back.
Major problem for Indianapolis. Slow starts all season long for one reason or the other. That time the turnover and the touchdown. They have not been able to execute early in games.
Hand off Brown. Brown is averaging over 6 yards a carry. The Colts view the Brown-Richardson combo as, as they talk about some running backs by committee, they see them as one guy, that they're interchangeable. They do different things even though they put them in the same role.
Well, as much as Trent Richardson has struggled, and I think there's a variety of reasons why. He hasn't been here long, still trying to digest the playbook and get some chemistry going with the offensive line. Conversely, Donald Brown, anytime he's touched it, for the most part, he's been terrific, over 6 yards a carry.
Big 60!
Block on second down goes underneath to Brown, who gets up across the 15-yard line.
You're going to see checkdowns and the screen game, I think, be a big part of Andrew Luck's game plan against this Rams defense. So far in this game, they're dropping off into the deep zones. They're leaving the stuff underneath, and of course the screen game, a great rush beater.
They need a yard on third down. They go without the huddle. They did that much of the opening drive.
Mike 55! Single. Red 80!
Donald Brown gets knocked out on third down. Michael Brockers, the former first-rounder from LSU made the big play, and it's 4th down for the Colts.
So far, so good for the St. Louis Rams and their defensive tackles. Look at the penetration Michael Brockers gets here, stunting inside, right across the face of Hugh Thornton. Bad step by the left guard, the rookie Hugh Thornton, and another tackle for loss in the backfield by one of the defensive tackles.
Pat McAfee standing at the goal line, ready to boot it out of there for the Colts. Tavon Austin, the rookie, standing back inside the Ram 35. Fair catch called for up around the 38-yard line, and that's where the Ram offense will take over for the first time today with a 7-0 lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Fast start for the Rams against this explosive Colt offense. Indianapolis comes in having won 3 in a row. Rams have lost 3 in a row, but they have the football at their own 39. First down. Zach Stacy the back. Kellen Clemens in his 15th NFL start. Stacy the carry. And gets up across the 40-yard line. Stacy has been averaging 94 yards a game since he's been named the starter. 5 NFL starts for him.
He'll have his hands full with Jarrell Freeman, the inside backer of St. Louis today. Zach Stacy certainly has been the highlight. I think Jared Cook, the tight end, is going to have an opportunity to really shine in this game with how the Colts defend. And then up front, keep your eye on Roger Saffold. First start at right guard. He hasn't played right guard since 7th grade. Chris, ultimately, that could be his best position. Fired up to see how he does today.
On second down, Clemens goes down in the pocket. Robert Mathis, a new career high for him. 12 and a half sacks for the season. He came in leading the NFL in that department.
And I talked to Robert the other day about this matchup with Jake Long. He's going to come from this side of the screen. He said Jake Long is a problem. But look at that dip and that ability to get your shoulder pads down low to the ground. So many defensive linemen can get to that position, pass rushers, but they fall down. The innate balance, quick as a cat, Robert Mathis. What a spectacular year.
It's 3rd and 16 for Clemens. Underneath, incomplete for the rookie Austin, who couldn't come up cleanly at the 49-yard line.
Not a great ball from Kellen Clemens, but one that Tavon Austin could have caught. And that's been a problem for the rookie all year. Leads the NFL in drops. That one low down at his knees or just below and couldn't hang on.
T.Y. Hilton, who stepped up as a receiver, doesn't want to give up his punt return duties as Johnny Hecker stands back to take the snap. Hilton waves for the fair catch. And the Colts will start inside their own 20. Well, so far we've seen the NFC sack leader and the AFC sack leader do their thing.
Today's game is sponsored by the all-new 2014 Jeep Cherokee, built free. By Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
There's Robert Mathis already doing some damage. Those are numbers that we had to update in the first few minutes of the opening quarter. Meanwhile, the Colts trying to get the offense going from their own 18. First down. Richardson back in at running back. He gets the pick. And the Ram defense, Janoris Jenkins helping with Jolon Dunbar to come up and make the stop. Now, you're without Reggie Wayne, so T.Y. Hilton can step up. Who else has to step up on this Colt offense?
Well, the offensive line on the interior has to step up for sure. And you can see right now, this isn't the cup of tea for Indianapolis. These outside bounce, sideways running plays. They are the running plays, though, that have given the Rams trouble over this season, and they're trying to exploit that vulnerability in the Rams. They got to get back to what they do, and that's inside power running.
And they go inside. Richardson, it'll be third down.
But in order to do that, you got to be able to block those defensive tackles. We've already talked about them being really the key to this game. They cannot move Kendall Langford so far off the ball. Mike McGlynn, the right guard, having a lot of trouble blocking this guy right here. And watch Kendall Langford just stack it up. Bang, on a double team, he splits it. There's nowhere for the running back to go.
Now, Pep Hamilton, offensive coordinator, said we don't want to throw it 40 times a game. It's tempting, though, when you have a guy like Andrew Luck on third down from the 18. They need 10. Here comes a flag and a whistle, so the play's dead. Looked like the Rams jumped.
It's another thing people don't know about. Great long count for a second-year player, Andrew Luck.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 94. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Robert Quinn called for the penalty. That's the third penalty already for Jeff Fisher's team.
And Jeff's telling his defensive lineman, watch the ball. And it's a great technique for Andrew Luck. You get great pass rushers. What makes them great is their ability to anticipate the snap count and get off with lightning speed. So you use that long count, you get them thinking and get an easy 5 yards sometimes.
And now it's 3rd and 5. T.Y. Hilton goes to the top of the screen with Jenkins covering him. Pressure. Luck throws high, had to get rid of it from the pocket, still got knocked out. Kobe Fleener, his tight end, was in the area, but the Ram defense forces another Indianapolis punt.
Now, and they are bringing the house, the St. Louis Rams, pressuring Andrew Luck. Luck's been terrific this year versus the blitz, but not only did the 4 defensive linemen come that time, that's hard enough, but you had the slot corner, Cortland Finnegan, come on a pressure. James Laurinaitis came up the middle, forced a bad throw.
McAfee standing inside his own 10-yard line. Austin back for the Rams. A high booming kick. Backs up Austin inside the 20. Tavon Austin. All the way up to the 45-yard line. A dazzling return for the rookie. A 58-yard punt and a 29-yard return. In case you missed it, check out Fox Sports Live for more from Jake Lazer's exclusive interview on the NFL on Fox pregame show with Richie Incognito. It's good to finally hear from one of the primary principals involved in this thing. Of course, Jay and Dan will have all the scores and highlights from week 10, of the NFL, the NBA, and NHL on Fox Sports 1. First down from the 48. Zach Stacy gets into Colt territory before Pat Angerer, who last week had one of his better games since he had that foot injury last year, making the stop for the Colt defense. What's the identity of the Colt defense?
Solid, not spectacular, I think, when you look at them. And they certainly struggled in the first half last week against the Houston Texans. You had a quarterback, Case Keenum, and we talked to Coach Minuski, the defensive coordinator. There he is there. He said he wasn't on his game. Case Keenum carved him up for 350 yards. And as Coach Minuski told us, he didn't really figure out the adjustment until the second half.
Stacy on 2nd and 5. It'll be 3rd down. He stopped short of the 45 of the Colts.
I think one thing that impresses me, Chris, when you turn on the tape about the St. Louis Rams, and clearly they haven't won. I mean, the last 2 games they finished in scoring position, couldn't get it in, denied, they walk away losers. But this guy right here, Zach Stacy, 5th-round pick, has become a huge featured piece. Their running game, the volume and the variety has expanded in the last 4 weeks like you can't believe.
Third and 3. Kellen Clemens floats and completes for a first down to Chris Gibbons, who's still going down around the 25-yard line of the Colts. Gibbons part of that young receiving core. He averages 16 yards a catch, which leads this Ram team.
You line up in some of these man looks, you're going to get linebackers rubbed off inside. That's exactly what happens to Jarrell Freeman. You see number 50, he goes to the ground there. Chris Gibbons on a crossing route. Wide open, not a great throw, but certainly in the area code that Gibbons could get it and punch it down to the 31-yard line.
And a pickup of 19. The Ram offense is on the move. Corey Harkey in at tight end. Remember, no Lance Kendricks. He's out with an injury. As Stacy carries to that side and knocked down inside the 25. Vontae Davis up from his corner spot.
Zach Stacy runs everywhere, runs inside, runs outside, and no matter where he's going, he's running with power. What a tackle from Vontae Davis, the corner, who just flies up in support and puts his helmet and shoulder pad right through the leg of Zach Stacy. There's Vontae Davis right there. Bang. Just chops him down for a minimal gain. Impressive.
Fake to Stacy. Clemens has it, and he's going to go down again. It's Robert Mathis again.
I don't like this protection call for the St. Louis Rams. You got Corey Harkey out here on the best pass rusher right now in pro football. He's got no chance. I mean, look at the athletic ability there from Robert Mathis, stabbing him inside, then bursting to the outside. And that's twice he has swung for that football and missed. What a year he's out.
Makes a field goal much more difficult on 3rd and 15. Benny Cunningham, rookie running back, in with Clemens. And the screen to Cunningham, who's got room. He's going to get a Ram first down inside the 15-yard line. What a great call by offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, and the rookie Cunningham, who had a costly fumble last week for the Rams, made a big play.
No doubt. You're having trouble with that edge rusher. Run a screen right at Robert Mathis, who gets upfield. They're going to end up running some of these defenders off. Dump it underneath. Good block there. Sealing it up by Chris Williams. You said it. It was all about the call, and then the execution was terrific.
A gain of 18. Tim Cunningham stays in the game. He gets the carry and slips through. Down inside the 5-yard line. Antoine Bethea had to make the tackle. Now Cunningham limping off the field.
That tells you a lot about Jeff Fisher, putting Cunningham in the game in this spot. Remember last week he had the lost fumble down in scoring position, which was a key in that game. Watch the block here by Scott Wells as he's able to get off and show some athleticism and some movement skills. Bang, there's the key block, just enough to free up Benny Cunningham.
Darrell Richardson inactive. Zach Stacy in the backfield at running back. Clemens floats one and incomplete in the area of Gibbons. It'll be 3rd down now and 2 for the Rams.
And this is the area. There's Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, calling out the personnel groupings and the plays. This is where they've really missed Greg Minuski on the other side playing the chess game. This is where they've really missed Sam Bradford down here in the red zone. Losing him to injury.
And missing Lance Kendricks and his 3 touchdowns.
That's a good point.
Extra tight ends in. 9th play of the drive. Jeff Fisher going to have to call a timeout. Gets noisy down there. We talked about the Colts, Tim Ryan, being a team that has beaten some of the best teams in the National Football League. No problem when you have Andrew Luck. If you're trailing in the game, you can come back, as they showed us last week. But let's talk about this Ram team and what they've been able to do here.
Well, I think it was the things that we talked about. Defensively, they've got the best pass rush in pro football, sacks per pass play. That has shown up in this game. We talked about the defensive tackles. Kendall Langford and Michael Brockers needing to be on point, have an impact. That's happened in this game. And then on the other side of the ball offensively, talked about Zach Stacy getting his touches, being able to run. That's happened in this game. Indianapolis got to get it figured out. Another slow start for them.
And an important moment for this defense early in the game, Tim. Obviously, if you go down 14-0 against a defense that's pretty good in a Ram running game, makes the hole bigger, even if you have somebody like Andrew Luck.
Man, this is going to be a big challenge, this play here. Only needing short yardage to pick up a first down.
Stacy loses the football. It's still loose, and the Colts are on it. Indianapolis has it. It was rolling around before Cassius Vaughn came up with a recovery.
Zach Stacy never got the football. It never looked like Zach Stacy secured the ball as Kellen Clemens was handing it off to him, and another critical turnover.
Cassius Vaughn
Wow.
comes up with it. First down, Indianapolis. The rookie running back who's been so good for the Rams with his first pro miscue and another Ram turnover.
I don't think it was his miscue. This one's on Kellen Clemens. Look where he places that ball. You got to stick it in the breadbasket on the numbers, not at the top of the numbers.
14th takeaway for the Colt defense. And what a big stand to get the ball back. And Luck comes out firing it open. He overthrew him. He had Kobe Fleener in the clear. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Benefit.
Well, already a rough start for the Green Bay Packers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Foles, watch this pass. Batted in the air. Deshaun Jackson takes it in 55 yards for the score. Seneca Wallace started in place of the injured Aaron Rodgers. He's now injured himself. Scott Tolzien, now the Packer quarterback, and they're down 7-0. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. We had the pleasure of calling the game in which Nick Foles tied the NFL record against the Raiders last Sunday with 7 touchdown passes in one game. On 2nd and 10 for the Colts. Luck in his own end zone. Quinn after him, and he gets rid of it. It's 3rd down.
It's one of the best things Andrew Luck does is avoid sacks. He is 237 pounds. And it looks like Kendall Langford has got him right where he wants him, and then just look at him drip off the lower body of Andrew Luck with all that strength. Impressive Andrew Luck. And you know, Jeff Fisher, I'll tell you, as I said, another critical turnover in scoring position. 2 weeks in a row, they've handed the ball off looking for points, and the running backs have coughed it up.
Let it roll. Watch 55. 290.
The fullback, Stanley Havili, gets it in an unusual carry on 3rd and 10.
That's a big play by Chris Long, because the Indianapolis Colts got exactly what they were looking for, getting the defensive lineman to rush upfield, trap him, kick him out. There was a huge running lane, but Chris Long came flying down the line of scrimmage to make the tackle. He was not supposed to make that tackle. Great play.
Chris Long has the only points in this game with a fumble return of 45 yards for a touchdown. McAfee standing in his own end zone. Tavon Austin, who had the terrific return of 29 yards on the last punt, is standing at the Ram 40. Colts have already had one block. That was close. Austin, no fair catch. And that's why. A dazzling cross-field return inside the 45-yard line of the Colts after a 52-yard punt. An 18-yard return for Tavon Austin.
That dude can fly, and Jeff Fisher loves it. Tell you what, these D linemen can also fly for the St. Louis Rams. Their impact on this game so far has been instrumental. Look at the defensive tackles. Brockers with great penetration. Kendall Langford with a big tackle for loss. Kendall Langford again stacking it up at the line of scrimmage. Robert Quinn coming around, knocking it out. Chris Long picking it up, running in for the touchdown. The Rams defensive line is controlling this football game.
Each team has coughed up a fumble. Zach Stacy back in from the 43 on first down. He gets the carry. Gets down to the 40-yard line. Good surge from that Ram offensive line that is without Harvey Dahl. You mentioned Roger Saffold, who Paul Boudreau, offensive line coach of the Rams, with Barksdale playing the tackle, said Saffold can become a Pro Bowl guard. He has that ability.
Man, it's really smart by Jeff Fisher and Paul Boudreau. Get your best 5 on the field. And I think the real story is about Joe Barksdale, the right tackle, number 72. He's played so well that it has moved Roger Saffold inside the guard.
Tavon Austin, they flip it to him on a reverse. And he makes a dash towards the 35-yard line. LaRon Landry, with 9 tackles last week, ran him out of bounds. As the first quarter is winding down, it'll still be a 3rd down for the Rams, but Austin cut into that lengthy yardage.
Boy, he's just had buzzard's luck, hasn't he? Tavon Austin, touchdowns called back, punt return for touchdown called back. Making his presence felt here today, though.
Crowd picking up, and that is going to be the end of the opening quarter. Looked like Kellen Clemens and the Rams weren't ready for that break. But it's been a defensive, dominated opening quarter. The pass rushers have showed up big. And Chris Long is in the end zone. That's why it's 7-0 Rams. Oh, Tim Wright, Chris Myers, glad to have you watching with us on the NFL on Fox. An important 3rd and 3 for the Rams from the Colts' 36-yard line. Kellen Clemens is on the run and throws that way to Chris Gibbons. And Chris Gibbons gets down inside the 5 of Indianapolis. Ruled out of bounds around the 2-yard line.
Boy, man beaters, and what you love about this, Kellen Clemens knows it's man coverage. He looks, he doesn't see Tavon Austin open. What you love here, though, he could have ran for a first down. He had all kinds of space. Instead, he unloads an accurate pass to Chris Gibbons, who punches it down to the 2.
And Clemens, who grew up on a farm, told us, or actually a ranch, said when you run from those mother cows, you learn how to move well. And he did on that play before unloading for a big gain. 1st and goal. Zach Stacy pounds in for the end zone and a touchdown Rams. Stacy's 3rd rushing touchdown as a pro.
And this is all Zach Stacy and his power at the line of scrimmage. Pretty well defended. Kelvin Shepard, a couple of other guys, Colts, going to hit him right there at the line of scrimmage. Cavell Connor, and he smashes it in anyway.
Drafted in the 5th round, Vanderbilt's all-time leading rusher has become the star of the Ram ground attack. And Greg Zuerlein's extra point, and a shocker. The 6-2 Colts at home. Chuck Pagano didn't expect this. It's 14-0 Rams early here in the 2nd quarter.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by USAA. To everyone who has served this Veterans Day, USAA salutes you. By Citizen Echo Drive, fueled by light, it never needs a battery. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
The monument to the USS Indianapolis. The NFL proud to be a part of the Remembrance on Veterans Day weekend. The Rams with a 14-0 advantage. And ready to kick off is Zuerlein. Three and out's been the story for the Colt offense after the early fumble that led to the score. David Reed is going to bring it out. And field position, which has also been a Colts problem, will pin them in deeply.
Yeah, and David Reed should have stuck with his initial reaction. It looked like that he wanted to down that in the end zone and take the touchback, change his mind at the last second, and is stalled close to their goal line.
Ray Armstrong wearing number 50. Darren Bates, the rookie from Auburn, 53 on the Rams special teams. Usually you could nominate a couple of players on your team. Jeff Fisher for the Pro Bowl vote. This year it's just one. They've been the 2 stars. And he said, just for this game, you two decide it. We'll keep points. Whoever has the better special teams game will be on the nominee, on the ballot for the Pro Bowl. Meanwhile, pass is tipped away. Not first down. Trumaine Johnson had a chance at an interception, and he would have been in the end zone.
And he's going to be a good player. I mean, he is getting the start today for Cortland Finnegan. And Jeff Fisher has had a lot of good things to say about last year's 3rd-round pick. He sees this the whole way. Eyes on the quarterback. Luck unloads it. And he almost gets himself an interception.
And then you're not supposed to do the throat slash. That's a fine the NFL does not allow.
Should have been flagged.
Any form of that. You're right. Should have been a penalty. On 2nd and 10 from his own end zone, they set up the screen to Donald Brown, who's fighting for every yard. And he did get the first down. The first downs have been tough to come by for the Colts today.
Again, dialing up the screen. Great versus outstanding pass rush team. And just some good blocks out in front of Donald Brown. But he has picked up a lot of yards. He has got so much balance. He looks faster and more explosive this year than I've ever seen him here in Indianapolis.
In his 5th year former first-round draft selection out of Connecticut, remains the back. Rams threaten pressure. Here comes a flag, maybe a free play for Luck, and he overthrew T.Y. Hilton. The Ram rush is getting to Andrew Luck.
He got blasted that time just as he unloaded the football, and part of their slow start, you go back to last week, it's about pressure on Andrew Luck, forces him to be inaccurate.
Defense number 97. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Eugene Sims called for the penalty, and Luck taking it on the chin.
You got to chop the head off a dragon, or he's going to spit fire all over you, and they've done that to Andrew Luck today.
Coming into this game, Tim, he's been hit 63 times. That's third most in the NFL behind Cleveland and Buffalo quarterbacks. Sacked 19 times before the Rams got to him. First down and 5. Luck fakes the run, throws, and a little bit high for Coby Fleener. James Laurinaitis covering. Let's check in again with Kirk Menefee for a game break.
Well, two of the teams tied atop the NFC North getting at it. Detroit and Chicago. Bears were up 7-0 before that Chris Durham touchdown tied it in the second quarter. Chris and Tim.
Thank you, Kurt.
That's a huge game. I mean, you look at everybody stacked in that NFC North. Detroit's already beaten Chicago. If they can somehow get that broom out and sweep them, it'll go a long way towards winning that division.
And as Kurt pointed out, no Aaron Rodgers for a few games for the Packers, who are losing. He'll keep us updated on the Eagle-Green Bay game. Luck has time, goes underneath. Griff Whalen across the 16. And let's head down to Jennifer Hale.
Several injuries, Chris, here on the Rams sideline. Running back Benny Cunningham is now questionable with a rolled right ankle, and trainers just took cornerback Brandon McGee back to the locker room with a limp. James Laurinaitis, meanwhile, is fighting to be out here. You know, he missed some practice time Friday with what they described as a hip injury. I'm hearing it's more back spasms, and they are applying heat down here on the sidelines every time he comes out, Chris.
Thanks, Jennifer. A critical 3rd and 1. And looks to throw for it and connects across the 35 for the first down. Darius Hayward-Bay, who's also had a problem with drops, made a clutch catch.
You can't drop this one. Andrew Luck puts it in a great spot. Catches the Rams blitz and sending pressure that way. Opens up the inside cut for Darius Hayward-Bay in the throwing lane. Good throw.
And now we're seeing, Tim, with a Griff Whalen and Hayward-Bay, other receivers other than T.Y. Hilton with no Reggie Wayne, and that's what Luck had to do last week. Sideline throw caught by Fleener. Janoris Jenkins on the tackle. Trailed by 18 last Sunday night on the road to win, trailing by 14 early at home.
One thing that Andrew Luck does outstanding, he's got all the intangibles, but for a young quarterback, he goes through every progression like no other young QB in this league in terms of what he's seeing, reading coverage.
Blue 90! Easy lefty.
Had to change it. He just saw Janoris Jenkins coming off the slot, change the play.
Jenkins dropped back. Caught by Whalen. Griff Whalen in his second year from Stanford was one of the best buddies of Luck at Stanford. And he got the first down.
Yeah,
he may see a lot of him today. In fact, they hope that he becomes a Brandon Stokely kind of player in this offense.
Yeah, and he's got a tough matchup. Cortland Finnegan will be matched up on him out of the slot today. That was all Griff Whalen picking up an extra 2 yards for the first down after Finnegan hit him.
And Luck is going deep. Incomplete. Levant Brazil, one of those other receivers in the rotation.
Hard to throw it that deep down the middle of the field when the St. Louis Rams were playing with 2 deep safeties. And they were really offering it up to run the ball for Andrew Luck with that light box. He doesn't do it. Takes the shot deep, play action. Rodney McLeod not taking the bait. He's all over it.
Luck is 8 out of 15.
And 4 out of 55, Ricky.
Colts have not been able to get the running game going, and of course they trail now by a couple of touchdowns.
Ricky. 90!
For T.Y. Hilton, he had some space on the sideline, but they couldn't connect.
9 straight passes here for the Indianapolis Colts, and it's going to be an uphill battle for Pep Hamilton. Losing Reggie Wayne changes everything in terms of his packages, what plays that he can call. Is going to need these young guys to step up, and frankly, Chris, he's going to need Andrew Luck to be better. I mean, when Andrew Luck has not been pressured, he has not been accurate. He had T.Y. Hilton wide open that time.
Now 3rd and 10 from the 47 of Indianapolis. Rams threaten blitz, then back off. 4-man rush. Luck, middle of the field for Fleener. Incomplete. And here comes a flag. Darian Stewart, the safety, was there with him.
Now let's see where contact comes here. And clearly they're going to call it here on Darian Stewart, playing deep half. So they got
defense number 20. Automatic first down.
They got 2 deep safeties reading the quarterback. Andrew Luck makes the right read, throws it to the middle of the field. That's when Darian Stewart broke on it, and there is contact on the body definitely before that ball got there. That's a good call by the official. You see the contact before the ball got there from Darian Stewart on the hip of Kobe Fleener.
And Jeff Fisher's arguing the officials are huddling here.
See if that ball was tipped or something. I didn't see that.
There's no foul for defensive pass interference.
Wow. How do you pick that one up?
That's what Chuck Pagano wants to know.
It did not look simultaneous contact with the ball hitting his hands. It looked like there's contact right there, and the ball had not gotten to the catching position for Kobe Fleener yet.
Pass interference could have been.
That's material effect on a wide receiver before the ball gets there. In my definition, that's pass interference.
The crowd silenced now on 4th and 10, and Tavon Austin, who has returned a couple of Pat McAfee's punts, 20-plus yards to set the Rams up, will get another opportunity here. It's 14-0 Rams. Under 11 minutes to play in the second quarter. And bouncing, Austin waved everybody away and picked the football up. He never called for a fair catch. Tavon Austin down the sideline. Touchdown. 98 yards.
That's unbelievable.
Tim, I think a lot of the Colt players, they saw him waving to get away from the ball as if not to touch it, but I never saw his arm go up for the fair catch.
Neither did I. That's going to stand as a touchdown, and it's unreal. Watch his hands here. That's not a fair catch signal. That's a Peter, get away, get away, get away. Nobody expected it as that ball is going into the end zone for Austin to pick it up, and now he just makes it look easy.
Never stepped out of bounds.
That's incredible.
His first punt return for a touchdown. Let's see if every scoring play must be confirmed. And he's in.
He never stepped out, and then he sees the kicker here, turns on the juice and runs right by him. What a play.
Greg Zuerlein's extra point. The hole got bigger for Andrew Luck and the Colts. 98-yard punt return for Tavon Austin. Well, the Rams traded up to get the rookie from West Virginia, an 8th pick in the opening round, and a big-time return today, Tim. 3 punt returns, 145 yards and a touchdown.
He's got blazing speed. I'll tell you what, though, the momentum of that picked-up flag on what I thought was certainly a pass interference is the difference here in the last couple of minutes.
David Reed does wisely have the touchback. Couple of players going at it. In 1 week, the next evolution of cop dramas here. Don't miss the groundbreaking show that critics are raving about. Almost Human. The 2-night premiere starts 1 week from tonight on Fox. Well, the Colts came in on a roll with a 6-2 record, overcoming an 18-point deficit in the second season for Andrew Luck. He's already had 10 fourth-quarter or overtime comebacks. He's down 21-0 here. Chris Long wouldn't let him go as he got back near the line of scrimmage.
You're talking motor that runs hot and is always tuned up. Chris Long's got it. And this is all about motor and effort here. Andrew Luck, here's Chris Long. He's just going to work around the edge. And he's just going to stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. Luck, as we talked about, holds the football. He gets finished by Chris Long at the line of scrimmage.
Second down 9. Luck has room to run. He's going to take off and go for it. Gives himself up early. It'll be third down. Let's head quickly down to Jennifer Hale.
Chris, another injury, this time on the Colts sideline. Mike McGlynn, the center, his thumb is giving him problems on his right hand. He's in the locker room undergoing x-rays right now.
Come on.
Now 3rd and 2 from the 28.
Now, so Lincolnbach will step in at right guard there for Mike McGlynn.
Passes right on target. Hayward Bay dropped it.
Problem throughout his entire career. You can't throw it better than that if you're Andrew Luck. Really throws him open with that back shoulder stop throw. And this ball's got some sizzle on it now. And Hayward Bay lets it hit him right in the chest. I mean, you got to stick your hands up and pluck that thing with your hands. It bounces right off his chest plate. Critical drop.
8 out of 18. You can't blame Luck for that one. And now the Colts are 3 and out. That's the 4th time today, and that's happened against this Ram defense. McAfee for Tavon Austin. Watch what he does. Fair catch. Clearly wait for it. It's fumbled, but nobody was next to him, and he was able to jump on it. And the Rams keep the football after a 47-yard punt. The Rams, with a shocker in Indianapolis, have the ball and lead 21-0.
Today's game is sponsored by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more.
Back at Indianapolis, 1st and 10 Rams from their own 27-yard line. Zach Stacy, the carry, has a touchdown in the game. Gets across the 30-yard line. The Rams, you always hear coaches talk about scoring on all 3 phases, or at least doing well in all 3. And for Jeff Fisher, well, it started with a defensive touchdown.
Full-blown team effort today, knocked out by Robert Quinn. Where Chris Long picks it up. Now Zach Stacy offensively, they punch it in, and then special teams. Indianapolis, by no means, thought Tavon Austin was going to field that football and bring it all the way back. Everybody chipping in today for the Rams.
Colts hoping for a stop and to try and cut into this Ram lead. Stacy met hard, but keeps going for a Ram first down. He's only 5'8", but he's as tough and as humble as any football player you'll ever talk to.
And he's running behind an offensive line who have found their groove in the power run game. This surge is ridiculous. Indianapolis up front, these guys cannot get pushed back. Watch the interior of this line, just taking those blue jerseys, pushing them back into the linebackers. And Zach Stacy making the most of it.
Kellen Clemens to throw and incomplete for tight end Corey Harkey. You know, that Colt defense up front, Ricky Jean-Francois, Brea Franklin, Corey Redding, they've all come from other, at least the part of the 3-4 defense, they've come from other teams. And Mathis moving at that linebacker spot certainly has put pressure on, has a sack already in the game. But to be pushed around by this offensive line of the Rams.
Well, the offensive line of the Rams, Chris, have been doing it for a couple of weeks. We know how good Houston is on the defensive line. We know how good Seattle is on the defensive line. Interior-wise in the run game, they push both of those teams around.
2nd and 10, a delayed handoff to Stacy, and it'll be 3rd down.
You mentioned Robert Mathis, a career high. He had the sack already today and getting after it, big hits on the quarterback. I'll tell you one thing that has, I think, enhanced his opportunities and let his ability shine this year is Dwight Freeney moves on. That's allowed Greg Minuski to really make him a feature part of the defense, moving him around everywhere, right, left, in the middle. Mathis has been superb.
on third down. Airing it out. Tavon Austin has it. The rookie has another Ram touchdown. 57 yards. Kellen Clemens to Tavon Austin.
Boy, I wonder if Vontae Davis pulled a hamstring or something, because he's in jog mode, not even trying to close the gap on Tavon Austin.
I mean, it was 3rd down and 7.
My goodness. I mean, here's the matchup, one-on-one right out here. Vontae Davis got his eyes in the backfield now. He just doesn't look like he can run. Tavon Austin blows by him. Rams talked about taking a bunch of deep shots today. Big connection.
Greg Zuerlein on to try the extra point, and it's 28-0. Chuck Pagano's team
Shocking.
in trouble. A career-long touchdown pass for Kellen Clemens. The Colt defense moments ago, after falling behind 28-0, Corey Redding, and they're angry. These fans here are as shocked. On the other sideline, the underdog Rams, I mean heavy underdog Rams.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'm feeling you.
They are
He's been great today, Tavon.
celebrating. They were waiting for the breakout game, just like the Colts are waiting for a breakout game from Trent Richardson. Meanwhile, Andrew Luck down 28-0 on an offense has not been able to get close to the end zone. David Reed brings it out again. It's spun in the air. And constantly, Cody Davis making the play, constantly hurting field position for Indianapolis.
Upended. Bang. Really, other than that first return of the game where the Rams had a taunting penalty, which put the ball at the 35, they have totally lost this field position game because they cannot get a return game going.
I mean, the Colts are getting pushed around at every level here. You talk about momentum coming back from 18 in Houston. Does that carry forward? It's worked the other way, and give the Rams credit for some of that. On first down, Luck dumps it off to Havili, the fullback fighting for a first down. Well, this is a shocker, Tim, so at least you've got Andrew Luck going for you. He has some more comebacks at his time in the league in NFL history, and it's 17 games, 10 of those, 17 wins, 10 of those have been fourth quarter overtime comebacks. He's got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, don't bet against him. As Chuck Pagano said, the head coach, nothing Andrew Luck does will surprise him, but they got to be better around him. And this is going to be monumental now without Reggie Wayne. We saw it last week against Houston. This is a different animal, and you know Jeff Fisher will do a lot to try to take this guy, T.Y. Hilton, out of the game and make someone else beat him.
Hilton has 2 catches in the game, including that one. It's his 3rd catch. And where else? Reggie Wayne apparently in the locker room. He was on the sideline. We saw the crutches last week, and Hilton said he's an inspiration to us just being around the team, even if he's not playing.
And he'll give T.Y. Hilton some pointers. I think one thing with T.Y., what he's doing is he's moving around a lot more, which can be confusing for young receivers. He's only in his 2nd year, so he is doing a lot of what Reggie Wayne did in terms of his alignments. Reggie'd be a huge asset for him if he could be out here communicating with him.
As Chuck Pagano said, you're never out of a game with Andrew Luck. And Jeff Fisher's teams are never out of it either. There's a flag down and the ball's out.
It is going to be, again, offside, neutral zone infraction, it looks like, on the Rams.
Offside, defense number 98. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
The call on Kendall Langford, so that's 5 penalties on the Rams, but the flag that was picked up, Tim, changed the best drive of the Colts that looked like pass interference on Kobe Fleener.
Yeah, I thought it was pass interference.
The ensuing punt was run back by Austin, and 2 more touchdowns for the Rams. That's how we got to 28-0.
Well, the best play for Indianapolis today offensively has been Andrew Luck with that hard count. He's gotten these guys to jump, and that one right there negates a big sack by William Hayes.
Alert! Blue 90!
Pass is caught by Havili. He juggled it but made the catch. The second-year fullback out of USC. When he came out of USC, the scouts said he had the best hands, the softest hands of anybody on that USC team, which included some talented receivers.
And fullbacks typically don't have a big catch radius, which is an area that the quarterback can put it around him. Andrew Luck, not real accurate today. I don't know if because of the pressure the ball's coming out early. Typically when the ball rises like that, it's coming out a little early. Luck has not found his groove with his velocity.
First down from the 40-yard line of the Colts. Luck under pressure and incomplete. Let's get a game break. Check in with Joel Klatt. Hi, Joel.
Hey, Chris, let's go to Baltimore. The 3-win Ravens desperately need a division win, and they're getting some quality play from Joe Flacco. Torrey Smith on the 7-yard TD from Flacco. 17-0 Ravens. Chris.
Thanks, Joel. People were wondering about that Baltimore offense. Flacco picking it up against the Bengals today.
It's been all Flacco this year. He hasn't been great, but their running game has been awful for the Baltimore Ravens.
2nd and 10. Underneath again to Havili. And Stanley Havili fights across the 47-yard line. I would think one of the advantages with Luck in this offense, and Matt Hasselbeck, the backup quarterback, was saying that we have code words for code words. We have so many plays at the line of scrimmage, no huddle, that we can go to it at any time. And they might be in a hurry-up mode for the rest of this game. There's Matt Hasselbeck.
Yeah, what an asset Matt is. He's had a great career. You talk about 15 years. People may forget that he was an upper echelon quarterback for years with the Seattle Seahawks. He was a good sign here.
On 3rd down and 3, another sack, and it's Robert Quinn. 2 in this game, adding to his career total.
Well, the great pass rushers, they can beat you in a multitude of ways. We know Robert Quinn is awesome on the speed. Watch him come up, show the speed, and then come underneath and just puts a beeline on the quarterback, Andrew Luck. And Stanley Havili, the fullback's got to see that. He was in protection, and at the last second, he released into the route, which freed up a lane for Robert Quinn and another sack.
Pat McAfee to punt. Pressure on. He goes down. There's a flag down where McAfee went down.
We'll see if this is going to be a roughing or a running into the kicker. Running into the kicker would not equal a first down. A rough would be an automatic first down. Looked like he got a piece of the ball.
Holding. Offense number 39. 10-yard penalty added to the end of the kick. First down.
Against the Colts, their first penalty of this game, the least penalized team in the NFL. Well, if you would have said late in the second quarter that Kellen Clemens has more passing yards and touchdown passes than Andrew Luck in this game here in Indianapolis, we would have said you were crazy. But that's the story. Clemens with a 28-0 lead coming off his career best touchdown toss. And a run to Zach Stacy. Fighting hard. Clemens, a guy 8 years in the league, drafted the 2nd round from the Jets. And a backup here, was out of football briefly and just grateful to have an opportunity to play, taking over for the injured Sam Bradford.
And he knows this offense. Was with Brian Schottenheimer with the New York Jets, and you see examples of it all over the place since he's been out there. That play right there, he got up to the line of scrimmage, had a play called, saw LaRon Landry, the safety, move up into the running box, killed the play, and ran it the other way. This guy knows this offense. Matter of fact, he knows it better than the quarterback Sam Bradford, who got hurt a few weeks ago.
Bradford's surgery pushed back this week. He celebrated his 26th birthday. Done for the season. Stacy waits and is wrapped up. It'll be 3rd down.
Good job there by Eric Walden. That's what you need to do to these power run games. You can't let him stay vertical and stay downhill. You got to get Zach Stacy moving sideways. Let your speed on defense catch up to him. That's what Eric Walden was able to do that time.
Greg Minuski needs the right call here. Last time they had a 3rd and 7. A big touchdown given up on the toss to Austin. As we near the 2-minute warning. Colts have all 3 of their timeouts. Rams have 2, and they're faced with a 3rd and 4. A stunner in Indianapolis. The Rams up 28-0. Visa halftime report coming up. The NFL on Fox, highlights of all the other games. A big third down for the Colts defense. The Rams need 4. High snap, handoff. Stacy slips. A tackle enough to go forward from Pat Angerer, but let's see if he got the first down.
It looked like he clearly punched it past that line to gain.
And Anger had a chance to stop him early, and now the Rams can chew up more of the clock and protect a 28-0 lead.
Look, the good backs break tackles and get yards after contact. And Pat Anger had him right there behind the line of scrimmage, but because of the power and the balance of Zach Stacy and Anger really being solo, not a lot of players to come help him out, he was able to drive for the first down. Zach Stacy.
Stacy's only 5'8", but makes every bit of that count. Gets the carry again. Bottled up this time.
Well, it's amazing. You look at the third down number in this game. St. Louis 5 of 7 in converting on third down. If you came in this league, you never know. I mean, on paper, the matchup totally favored the third down matchup for Indianapolis. Number 9 in the league at stopping people on third down. St. Louis, number 30, been a problem all year. Not today.
And with 3 timeouts, Chuck Pagano not deciding to even try and stop and force the Rams to punt, letting the clock run, and the Rams will be happy to get to the half with a 28-0 lead. They'll get the football to start the second half here in Indianapolis. Stacy's 15th carry of the day. Remember, he has the touchdown run, but other than that, it's been big plays for the Rams. Chris Long, a fumble return of 45 yards. Tavon Austin, a punt return of 98 yards. And then the touchdown pass, Kellen Clemens to Austin, of 57 yards. Meanwhile, Luck, 12 of 23, lost a fumble. No touchdowns, no interceptions.
You almost get the feeling that Indianapolis, in the flow of this game, they're going to need some point contributions from the other 2 phases, special teams and on defense, because right now they got nothing going on either side of the ball.
And this packed stadium is as surprised and shocked as we are. The Rams aren't. They have a 28-0 lead. Let's head to Kurt Menefee. You're reading that correct. It's 28-0 Rams, and Andrew Luck, who came back from 18 last week, if he does it today, it'd be the largest comeback in the history of the Colt franchise. The Rams, their largest halftime lead this year, maybe one of the better halves of football they've had in a long time. Indianapolis, Trent Richardson, -3 yards rushing. The team has a total of 5 yards rushing, so what can Luck do to pull off one of those amazing comebacks?
And a total of 74 yards total offensively. They have been awful, no question. Some of the things I talked about, they're going to need contributions from the defense and on special teams. But, Chris, 3 things on offense. Offensive line's got to protect better. Andrew Luck has been under a lot of pressure. Number 2, he's got to be more accurate. He's been terrible in terms of his accuracy, 12 of 23. And then I think maybe just as importantly, the wide receivers and running backs are going to have to get yards after the catch, because St. Louis can rush with 4. They're going to stay in deep coverage, keeping everything in front of them, which means that breaking tackles and picking up extra yards is going to be very important for Indianapolis.
Yeah, the Rams, that prevent defense. I mean, Jeff Fisher, what he has done with this team coming in, and obviously a flag turned things. When it looked like pass interference, the Colts trailing by 14, gaining momentum, getting in the red zone.
That was definitely a critical area in this game, because the next play was the punter a couple plays later, and then Tavon Austin picked it up and had a long distance 98-yard house call. So I think the Rams have hurt themselves with a couple of penalties today. Indianapolis had bad luck on the flag that was picked up. They got to execute better everywhere. All 3 phases. Indy has been really lacking that today.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Last time the Colts were shut out in the first half was in 2011 at Tennessee, so a string of 32 games before today. There's Trent Richardson. He can be used as a receiver out of the backfield.
I don't want to say that Indianapolis looked past the St. Louis Rams and their 3-6 record, because they watched the tape and they know St. Louis is going to bring some high-impact defensive play and a running game to the table. But if you think about it, they got a huge division game 4 days away, Thursday night, against the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans are trailing to Jacksonville in the third quarter. Second half underway. And Austin, who's had a big game already, brings it out. Not this time. Colts knock him down at the 15. Back down to Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, an extremely frustrated Chuck Pagano told me the ugly truth is his team has just been outplayed and out-executed in every phase of this game. His advice to Andrew Luck at halftime, settle down and play your game. Meanwhile, Jeff Fisher, well aware of Luck's reputation as the comeback kid, he is preparing his defense to be prepared for Luck to try to go deep as often as possible. He's told his team not to give up any chunk plays, Chris.
Thanks, Jennifer.
I'll tell you another thing I would do if I was Pep Hamilton, and I'm no OC. He knows a lot more than I do, but I'd be moving Andrew Luck around, changing his launch point, getting him by design outside the pocket, where not only is he the throwing threat, but a running threat as well.
Watch 20. Ringo. Watch.
Kellen Clemens comes out throwing, floats it for Harkey, and it's incomplete. Time of possession, the Colts actually have had the ball more than the Rams in the first half. And Clemens had that career best 57-yard touchdown toss to Tavon Austin in the first half and was with the Jets and Brian Schottenheimer. And has been a valuable backup in St. Louis.
74 yards of offense. Wow, 5 yards rushing. You said it, Trent Richardson in the red, in the negative category.
120.
Zach Stacy's 16th carry of the game. And they shove him backwards. Jarrell Freeman, who leads the team in tacklers. We haven't called his name much today. Stacy does have a short touchdown run.
Oh, they've done a nice job for the most part on Zach Stacy, except for in the critical times. Down on the goal line, punched it in, the big third down. He was able to surge for a few extra yards, but this is a guy that's been 4.5 a carry coming into this game. He's not even 3 yards, 2.8, so they've gotten after him a little bit.
3rd and 9. Wide open, Tavon Austin. I don't know how he got so wide open, but there he goes. And I don't think anybody's going to get him. Touchdown, Rams. 81 yards, his 3rd touchdown of the day.
Chris, they got to get out of man coverage, Indianapolis. They are getting rubbed off on these pick routes. Tavon Austin starts out wide. He short motions inside. The corner comes with him, Vontae Davis. Watch the crossing route. Watch the pick. There's no way Vontae Davis can stay with him. And you get Tavon Austin that much space around him in the open field and deliver a ball with accuracy, forget it.
And Tim, these have come on 3rd and long, these completions.
They got to get out of man coverage. They got to get in and start running some combo zones, keeping things in front of them. They're getting picked apart with those little rub routes.
Zerline with the extra point, so Kellen Clemens, the 2 longest touchdown passes in his career, both going to Austin, and that Colt defense gasping for air.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Chevrolet, find new roads. By Applebee's, vets and active duty military enjoy a free Applebee's entree on Veterans Day. And by K Jewelers, every kiss begins with K.
Tavon Austin in his 10th NFL game with 6 touches, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's not done yet. Early in the 3rd quarter, it's 35-0. That was the longest pass play of the season for the Rams, an 81-yard touchdown catch. And David Reed is bringing it out. I don't know why he keeps bringing it out, because he can never get past the 15-yard line, but let's celebrate the performance of Tavon Austin.
Everybody's been waiting for the breakout game for the top 10 pick, and here's his punt return, 98 yards, telling everybody to get away from it. Everybody did, including the Indianapolis defenders. Here he runs right by Vontae Davis on a go route. Here on a crossing route man coverage, Vontae Davis gets picked off. And this guy in the open field, he is electric. And you're seeing today why Jeff Fisher and Les Snead drafted him. I mean, these are a lot of the things that he did at West Virginia.
came in leading NFL rookies in catches. He has 2 today for 138 yards and a couple of scores. And Luck has to get rid of it. That's what's amazing about the National Football League, Tim. The Colts are 6-2, the dramatic victory. They've beaten some of the best teams in the NFL. The Rams in a slide without their starting quarterback. Sam Bradford was off to the best start of his career before his knee injury. And the Colts come back home and trail now 35-0.
That's what I love about this league. Week to week, I don't care who you're playing. Play your best or get beat.
Darius Hayward-Bay, but short of the first down.
And now here's where you, and Chuck Pagano knows it, his best player on offense, Reggie Wayne, other than the quarterback, done for the year with an ACL. This is going to be a tough road to hoe now for this passing game without Reggie. You got a lot of young players. I mean, you got a bunch of guys other than Darius Hayward-Bay and David Reed. They're all in their second year.
On 3rd and 2. Luck wide open. He's got it. T.Y. Hilton. Can he make it to the end zone? No. It's been that kind of day for the Colts. He was in the clear. Fell out at the 15 of the Rams.
He gets, what a great route. It looks like he got Janoris Jenkins jumping the route, thinking of an interception. Watch a little stutter. Jenkins is going to drive on it right there. And then he turns the juice back on, runs by him. Beautiful throw. And as you said, it's been that type of day. Typically an easy touchdown for him, weaving through the traffic, and the field monster got him. He fell down.
A gain of 65 yards. Trent Richardson with his best run of the day. Janoris Jenkins, one of the young, the Rams, the youngest team in the league. You know, they were the youngest last year. They got younger. One of their coaches said the Rams were younger than the BYU roster of
That's
players.
Incredible. And he and T.Y. Hilton, they got a relationship together from college. Florida International versus Florida. They know each other.
Luck, pressure coming. He had to get rid of it. Boy, and Luck get hammered. No flag. It's 3rd and 5.
Well, Luck's getting hammered just about every time he throws. And Pep Hamilton, I mean, you got to protect the franchise there. You may want to think about keeping in a tight end and a running back for protection, which then, of course, limits how many guys you're going to send out in the route. And here it's a 6-man protection, and Eugene Sims that time gets the hit on Andrew Luck, who had to hold the ball to wait for the receiver to clear.
He's been sacked twice. Hilton at the bottom of your screen on 3rd and 5. Luck goes the other way, end zone throw, and at the last minute, what a diving pick by Trumaine Johnson. The receiver looked open.
Well, that's a bad read from Andrew Luck. A great play by Trumaine Johnson, but he had T.Y. Hilton to the right, one-on-one versus Janoris Jenkins. They're going to send the pressure off the left. Now you got 3 working over 2 over there. What a great pick.
Only his 4th interception of the season. Well, even Superman has days where he's just kind of like Clark Kent. Luck had not thrown an interception in his last 105, and that's only his 4th of the year. And trailing now 35-0. Most points given up by the Colts team this season.
Rarely you see him with a bad read. That was a bad read.
Rams chewing up the clock this early in the 3rd quarter from their own 20-yard line.
I mean, the way that the Rams lined up to defend that, they had a pressure coming off the right side of the offensive line to the right of Andrew Luck. He had his best receiver, T.Y. Hilton, out there one-on-one with Janoris Jenkins. Jenkins did a decent job of covering him, but I'll take that isolated, your number 1, versus trying to throw it to the backside into his own coverage that's flooded with defenders.
Meanwhile, the career backup, Kellen Clemens, already over 200 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. He's never had a 300-yard game. Knocked away. It'll be 3rd down, no flag. Givens the target. Vontae Davis stayed right with him.
You got to appreciate Kellen Clemens' mental approach, don't you? In talking to him, as long as he's been in the league, he started 15 games. He's the kind of guy that I think figured out several years ago when they drafted Mark Sanchez that a lot of guys try too hard and try themselves right out of pro football, put so much pressure on themselves. He prepares hard all week, comes out on game day and says, whatever happens, happens. You got to go have fun.
He called the backup quarterback position the toughest in sports.
Right here. Hurry up.
6 for 8 on third down. They've been money today. And a little screen to Zach Stacy. They won't get the first down this time. The Colts defense finally makes a big play. Finally with a stop. Johnny Hecker, who will be punting for the Rams, he actually attended in high school Matt Hasselbeck's quarterback camp. That tells you how young Hecker is and how old Matt Hasselbeck is.
And we got Levon Brazil back here returning the punt. T.Y. Hilton, he told the coaches the other day he still wants that job. Not this time. Brazil's got it.
Well, he's going to be doing a lot of running on offense. No fair catch. Awkward, but at the 37-yard line, the Colt offense takes over. A game for the ages from the young Tavon Austin. These folks in Indianapolis a little disappointed, but our congratulations go out to the Brebeuf High School, the Brebeuf Braves, their football team, first sectional championship in the 50-year history of the school. School president Jack Dennis, congrats to them. Area high school that's well thought of. And they root for their Colts. Here comes a flag at first down. T.Y. Hilton with the catch goes out of bounds near midfield. Colts have been penalized just once today.
Offside. Defense number 91. Penalties decline. First down.
And the Rams, without that penalty, that's 5 on them. Not accepted, but a gain of 12 to Hilton. So if they're going to use him more in the offense, we probably won't see him in the punt return game.
And I like that plan. If the Rams are going to play deep with these safeties and the backers are getting out, you just start running all these shallow crossing routes. They're going to be open.
And that's intercepted. James Laurinaitis. An overthrow by Luck. And the Rams middle linebacker, the team's leading tackler, comes up with Luck's second interception of this game.
Well, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Everybody's dropping out deep. You got to throw it underneath the linebackers. And Andrew Luck just lets it fly. The ball came out late, came out high, intercepted.
James Laurinaitis playing with a bruised hip and back with his second interception of the season. And for Luck, I can't remember a game in college or in his brief NFL career where he has been so dumbfounded, so baffled.
All right, guys.
He's never thrown more than 3 interceptions in an NFL game. Rams take over. Corey Harkey with another first down, reserve tight end. Haven't heard from Jared Cook today, but the Rams, with all the other firepower, haven't needed him.
It's shocking what we're seeing today. Both sides, as good as the St. Louis Rams are, and they've been outstanding in all 3 phases. Tavon Austin, what a breakout game for him. But on the other side of the ball, I mean, this defense getting picked apart. And really in the passing game, Vontae Davis 2 weeks in a row now having a rough outing. And then offensively, Andrew Luck and his inaccuracy issues, it's incredible.
From the 45 of the Colts, Stacy remains the back, and he gets the carry. Never be without football. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL, and you can download it now.
There's the star right there, Tavon Austin. Holy smokes.
He's only 5'8". Him and Zach Stacy have come up big for the Rams. And the Ram defensive effort, I don't know if enough could be said about, I know coaches work hard every week, but Jeff Fisher, what he has done with this young football team against a 6-2 Colts team today. Amazing. And Clemens is going to try and throw it to Stacy. He'll be stopped short of the 40. In fact, the Rams' best shutout on the road in their history, 48-0 in 1954 against the Colts. That was the LA Rams beating the Baltimore Colts.
Look, they're doing fine shutting the run down for the most part. They got no one else right now, Chris, that can rush the passer other than Robert Mathis. And you get Bjorn Werner in the first round out of Florida State. He's been hurt certainly most of the year, but he's starting to get it back. Maybe time to put him out there and see what he's got, because Walden is not bringing enough pressure right here opposite that guy, Robert Mathis.
There's Jared Cook. And makes a nice catch. Let's check in for a game break with Joel Klatt. Joel?
Let's go to Green Bay. Nick Foles, maybe the hottest player in the NFL. All the way down the field, 45 yards. Riley Cooper hauls it in, his 9th touchdown pass in his last 2 weeks. The Eagles up 17-3. Chris.
The Eagles on the road. They haven't won at home, but so far, part of that NFC East race behind Nick Foles. Chip Kelly didn't want to say he's my quarterback the rest of the way, but
I'll say it.
You said it last week when he threw 7 in one game. Benny Cunningham checks in at running back. He bruised his ankle in the first half and gets inside the 20. We showed you the numbers of Tavon Austin, Tim, the combined yards. And thank goodness we have great stat people helping us with this because he's got over 300 combined yards. The NFL record, 1995, Denver's Glenn Milbourne had 404 yards.
Well, if they keep staying in that man coverage, that being Indianapolis, and they keep dialing up this guy's number out on the perimeter, he's got a good chance to smash that record.
51.
Lucky.
20. 20.
Benny Cunningham brought down hard. Cunningham, the rookie from Middle Tennessee, signed as a free agent. Zach Stacy, who we've seen the 5th-round pick, who's been the lead runner. Darrell Richardson, inactive with a toe injury, and Isaiah Pete has been a major disappointment. 2nd-round draft pick from Cincinnati. Without Steven Jackson, that's the Ram running game.
Well, finally, someone stepped up at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack by himself and got it done. That was a really nice play there by Corey Reddick.
Zach Stacy gets inside the 15-yard line. Jarrell Freeman up to make the tackle. This Wednesday on All New Ultimate Fighter, tensions running high, bad blood boils over. It's more than a fight for the finals, it gets personal. The Ultimate Fighter All New Wednesday on Fox Sports 1, and to get Fox Sports 1, go to foxsports1.com now.
Maybe the Colts need this little spark plug right there to help them out.
And Greg Zuerlein on to kick a field goal. Now, he's made extra points today. He missed his last 2. And Jeff Fisher on Wednesday had a bit of a surprise for him, calling on some of the players after practice to heckle him when he lined up. He delivers here. They had water spray bottles. He went 5 for 5 with everybody yelling at him. He wanted to create more of an atmosphere so that Zuerlein would deliver when that pressure was on. We mentioned that all-purpose yard mark that Glenn Milbourne, who did it for the Broncos. And you see Tavon Austin still has a quarter plus. I think Milbourne actually played at Stanford, if I recall, in his college days.
You're right. Yep.
And Austin has been part of a Ram show here at Indianapolis. And just down it, 38-0. The fans are excited about that, starting from the 20-yard line. Colts in a hurry up and lock on first down. Completes. Arias Hayward Bay across the 32-yard line, still pushing forward.
I'm telling you, the Rams are going to keep everything in front of them and come up and tackle. I would like to see Andrew Luck, by design, Chris, moving outside the pocket, extending plays, and what that does is coverages, all the zone coverages start to break down on the back end, and it opened up for big play opportunities.
After a gain of 14, goes back underneath Richardson. It'll be 2nd and short. You know, Andrew Luck said, we talked to him before the game, he's such a likable guy and so accomplished. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. That's how he referred to this game against the Rams early in the week. He knew they would be physical and aggressive. I don't think he expected this. On 2nd and 1, he's going to get the first down to Richardson. They gave a lot to get him from Cleveland. And as a receiver, he sets the Colts up at the 38 of St. Louis.
And that's probably the area they haven't used him enough in terms of that role as a receiver. As a rookie last year in Cleveland, 51 catches for Trent Richardson. I think his biggest play last week in the Houston game was that long screen pass he caught in the 4th quarter to set him up. You need to start dialing him up a little bit more. Problem is, you got to keep him in to protect.
After a gain of 20, Luck's going to take off and slide around the 30. There's a flag down back at the 44-yard line.
Talk about heavyweights.
Holding. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's on Anthony Costanzo, the left tackle.
You talk about heavyweights. Andrew Luck walks like a heavyweight. And we could hear him walk into our production meeting 40 yards down the hallway. He is a big dude now. Every shot, 237 pounds.
Every player and coach we talked to said how football is important to him. That means he studies, he works hard, lives for the game.
No, he's a great player, but even the greatest players in this league have off days. Today's an off day for Andrew Luck.
Lefty. Red 90! Brendan Hutchins!
On first down and 20, quick pass complete at the 40. Kobe Fleener is knocked out, and that's been very many catches to him. We expected Fleener. That's only his second to have a bigger day. The Colts still have had the ball more than the Rams. Time of possession. Numbers and statistics can be so misleading.
John Fox told me 10 years ago, stats are for losers. No situations.
First down catch is made by Fleener. It's like Rams were trying to take it away. And you know, Tim, when you looked at these statistics of this Colts team at 6-2, you said, well, the stats are average for where they're ranked offensively, defensively, but yet they beat good teams, and they won 6 out of 8.
And the biggest thing, a quarterback's great, and they haven't self-destructed other than today. I mean, they led the league coming in with only 6 turnovers on offense, and number 1 in penalties. Not a lot of self-inflicted wounds.
Donald Brown has this one. But today, 3 turnovers, and the special teams, that has not been a strong point for them, and obviously hurt them against Houston, even though there were some officiating adjustments. It really hurt them today.
No, there's enough blame to go around for everybody, including the coaches. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Greg Minuski. They have had their issues trying to adjust to what St. Louis has done in the passing game today.
See Wyatt Hilton puts a move on and gets a Colt first down, and they're in range. Of course, they want touchdowns. Their kicker, Adam Vinatieri, who will turn 41 years old next month, has recorded in 154 consecutive regular season games at least a point. And Luck on a roll here, 7 out of 7 on this drive, overcoming a big penalty. Underneath to Brown, who cuts back. Donald Brown has a touchdown.
It starts with the offensive line, giving Andrew Luck time to go through his progressions. It looked like he wanted T.Y. Hilton to the left, and then Donald Brown flashes in front of him on the crossing route. Awful angle by Cortland Finnegan to come up and make the tackle. Well executed by Donald Brown. Wicked good in space.
Yeah, Vinatieri's streak I just mentioned. They're going for 2 instead of kicking the extra point, so catch-up is still on their mind.
Yeah, watch Fleener right here on the 2-point conversion.
Donald Brown splits all the way out to the left. Hayward Bay, bottom of your screen. Luck. Catch made by Kobe Fleener. Confetti is falling here in Indianapolis. The Colts are on the board. There's no shutout. Andrew Luck with his 14th touchdown pass of the season. Something to cheer about for the loyal fans here in the great state of Indiana. It all began with Reed downing the football, not setting up with weak field position. They march 80 yards, and Luck gets the touchdown toss. It's 38-8. And if you're an optimist and want to figure what 5 times 8 is 40, so the Colts would need 4 more touchdowns and 4 more 2-point conversions, and they'd have to shut down the Rams to complete the greatest comeback. Pat McAfee, the punter, does the kicking here. He's going deep with it. Watch out for Austin, who will watch it bounce for a touchback. Big East basketball coming to Fox Saturday with a top 20 showdown between the 11th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes and the 17th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles. Coverage begins Saturday at 1 Eastern, only on Fox. Big East hoops. So the Colt defense, Tim, you said to at least try and turn things around other than the offense. They needed to do something, make a big play like we saw the Rams do. It all started with a defensive play from Chris Long running back a fumble.
And you can still pressure without playing man coverage. And Greg Minuski knows that. You got to start dialing up some of those zone pressures where you get the advantage of sending an extra guy, but you get the safety of playing zone behind it.
That's a 20th carry for Zach Stacy, and he'll lose a yard. He's averaging less than 3 yards a carry in this game, as Robert Mathis shows he can play the run as well.
No, they've done fine in terms of the run defense. They really have, the Indianapolis Colts. Zach Stacy came in here. This Rams running game, last 2 games, 180 yards per game. You think of the Rams in the first 7, 71 yards a game. So their ground game has been cranked up and has been cranked down today by the Indianapolis Colts. It's just the big plays in the passing game, in particular to Tavon Austin.
From the 19-yard line, Kellen Clemens, the quarterback. Off the hands of Jared Cook, and that should have been caught. It'll be 3rd down. Jeff Fisher, one of 8 coaches active who played in the NFL and is a head coach, and seems to have got the camo sleeves on. His respect for the military and Veterans Day weekend.
Told us some great stories yesterday about his trips overseas, and
USO and
Mount Kilimanjaro, and all that stuff. Said it was the best team he ever coached.
He's done a pretty good job with this team today. On 3rd down, Clemens, incomplete to Stacy. The Colts will get the football back.
Well, I like that plan. Rush 3, drop 8, make him dump it off underneath, and even if he caught it, there was nowhere for Stacy to go.
And when you think about Jeff Fisher, the years he's been in the league, rising up the victory list, all those years with the Tennessee Titans in the division. Brazil back for Hecker's punt. And really back, like inside the 20. LeVon Brazil. Some tough running to get up across the 35-yard line. There's been great history between the Rams and the Colts. Another time, another place. The Colts, one of the most storied NFL rivalries, featuring some of the most famous players. Even though they were on opposite coasts, they played twice a year until the AFL-NFL merger in 1970. From the great Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen, you saw Johnny Unitas to start it. Once the Baltimore Colts and the LA Rams. Now it's, of course, St. Louis and Indianapolis. Gets rid of it. Robert Quinn, who already has surpassed with a couple of sacks. He has 12. That's a career best for him in his 3rd year from North Carolina, was chasing luck.
Now, best in the NFC, and certainly today he's on fire, but it's not just sacks. He's got more knockdowns than any pass rusher in pro football hitting the quarterback, and Andrew Luck typically not going to get run down from behind. He's a good athlete. Robert Quinn's got that kind of juice and athleticism to do it.
More than 20 knockdowns for Robert Quinn to go with 12 sacks. Fleener has it, but he's tackled right away. James Laurinaitis on the stop. The Colts go without a huddle as the 3rd quarter is winding down. Just what you said, Tim. The Rams are backing off, so underneath, but making the tackles on those short receptions.
Yeah.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter. Austin has had a terrific day. The Rams have dominated Luck and the Colts. We welcome you back in Indianapolis. Fans, there's young Cameron with Dad in the Hoosier State, growing up a Colts fan. And on 3rd and 3, a penalty.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 94. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's something Jeff Fisher will want his pass rushing end to work on.
Yeah, you know what, and it's all about watching the ball, but I think Howie Long could attest to this. When he was with the Raiders and those guys were rushing the passer back in the day, they almost allowed all those offside and you know, those encroachment and those neutral zone infractions. Yeah, because they knew that the sacks they were going to get were going to pay off and outweigh those 5-yard penalties.
Fresh set of downs from the 49 for Andrew Luck. Coming off his best drive of the day. Sideline throw and right in there to T.Y. Hilton.
That's the Andrew Luck we know. That was a laser and a perfect read versus that cover 2 look. You got a corner and trail underneath. You got a safety who's playing the deep half over the top, and it's got to be timed up perfectly. And Andrew Luck, on time, threads the needle.
Now to the 30-yard line, a first down after a gain of 21. The screen to Donald Brown, who had the touchdown a moment ago. He gets close to another one. It'll be first and goal, Indianapolis.
Boy, I'm glad he's getting extra touches. There's one thing when you turn on the tape of this Indianapolis Colts offense is number 12 pops out at you, number 13 pops out at you, and number 31 pops out at you in Donald Brown. And Pep Hamilton's using him the right way right now.
So after a gain of 21 to Hilton, a gain of 26 to Brown, the Colts need to score often and quickly. Pass is caught. Touchdown, David Reed.
Boy, you know what's interesting about this play is when a helmet comes off a player, it's supposed to be immediately whistled dead. And that helmet was off before David Reed made that second effort, and a great effort it was to jump into the end zone.
There was no whistle, Tim. We're close enough we could hear. There was no whistle there. It looked like his foot was out of bounds.
It did look like his foot was out of bounds.
As they are reviewing, and he wants to challenge, but it's a scoring play. It's ruled. You can't challenge that if it's ruled a touchdown.
You got to put that in your pocket, Jeff.
Review upstairs.
I think you're right. I think it was stepped out of bounds, and that's going to really protect the integrity of the rule when the helmet comes off, because they missed it.
Ruled a touchdown and being reviewed.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Domino's. Oh, yes, we did. By Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by PlayStation. Greatness awaits in stores November 15.
After review, the runner stepped out of bounds. The ball we placed at the 2.5-yard line, second and goal. Please set the game clock to 14 minutes, 8 seconds. 14 minutes, 8 seconds.
The Colts will gain 3 seconds, but they won't get the touchdown on a great effort from Reed. Stepped out of bounds, helmet was off, and that's why they review all scoring plays. Second and goal now from the 2. That look on Chuck Pagano's face tells what it's been like on that sideline all day.
It was fun to sit and talk with him. You talk about real, genuine. That guy is every bit of that. Big fan of Chuck Pagano.
And glad he's feeling well.
Watch 52. Ricky.
End zone throw for Bay, incomplete with a flag.
Pass interference. Defense number 21. Foul card in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Well, that time Andrew Luck makes the right read. Isolation coverage, one-on-one. Darius Hayward-Bay on Janoris Jenkins. The ball rises up. Jenkins grabs his right arm before it got there. Pass interference.
And it was interesting because T.Y. Hilton ran across to the top of the screen. Jenkins, most of the game, has been on him. Number 21, the second-year corner for the Rams. So first and goal. Donald Brown is, Trent Richardson, excuse me, is in the backfield. Luck's in trouble. And he's going to go down. And Chris Long with a sack. He came in with 5.5. Scored the first points of the game on a fumble return.
Tough protection. They try to kick the guard out to block Chris Long coming around the corner. And Jeff Linkenbach, they call that a molly protection. He's got to get out from the right guard position and block Chris Long. A major mismatch in athleticism, and to boot, Andrew Luck was rolling out that way. That's hard. Nice sack by Chris.
Third sack of the day for the Rams. That's Chris Long's first of the day. And Luck is going to try and run down to the 6-yard line. Cortland Finnegan stops him. It'll be 3rd and goal. So that penalty was big that maybe kept him out of the end zone. Obviously the out of bounds play. But the Colts need touchdowns.
I'll tell you, really, when you think 6-2 with Pep Hamilton losing 5 offensive starters and how they've held it together, it's not been good today, but up until today, it's been outstanding.
End zone throw, or towards the goal line, I should say, juggled. Griff Whalen couldn't hold on to it. It was actually short of the end zone, and now it's 4th down. And they're going for it, which is what Chuck Pagano should do.
You have to.
Was saying 14 months ago, battling leukemia, the story last year, of course, with Bruce Arians, the playoff run, and he's happy and healthy. Reached out this week to both Gary Kubiak and John Fox, coaches who thankfully are doing better.
I'll tell you right now, the Rams will have their eyes right on this guy, Kobe Fleener, down in this area.
From the 6-yard line, he rolls one way and is in trouble. Can he get to the end zone? On 4th down, no.
Looked like his knee may have been down before that ball crossed over the goal line plane. And this will be one that needs to be challenged if Chuck Pagano thinks it's close. Let's watch the knee of Andrew Luck as he goes down. Oh,
that's
hard
close.
to tell. You're going to challenge this if you're Pagano. Says it all right here, Andrew Luck. It is not a touchdown. Short of the end zone. Ball on the ground. Helmet on the ground. Touched by a defender. He is down. Good call by the official.
And a wise non-challenge by Chuck Pagano as Kellen Clemens just keeps. That was a big play. The Ram defense taking a stand inside the 10-yard line.
And Chuck Pagano's been great in those situations. And how he chose not to challenge that from his vantage point, Chris, I don't know how you could ever see it, because it took us, and all the replays were coming up, to really get a couple of different angles, and we could see that ball was clearly down.
Chuck Pagano in challenges for replays this year. When he has challenged, he is 4 out of 4. And Luck kept out of the end zone. Zach Stacy to the 5. It'll be 3rd down. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, it's been interesting to watch Andrew Luck's demeanor change through this game. First half, he was trying to fire up his teammates, working this sideline with, shall we say, inspirational messages. The second half, he spent it quietly studying along with different coordinators and different coaches, Pep Hamilton, Clyde Christensen, trying to come up with a strategy, Chris.
Well, the Ram defense today, and it started early with the sack, fumble, and return, and then some special teams play. Took control and made it easier on the Ram offense.
Double.
Stacy, Freeman, and it's 4th down.
And I think we know why Chuck Pagano, he doesn't have x-ray vision. I think Andrew Luck came over and told him, yeah, I wasn't in. Don't challenge that. Yeah, look, don't do it. I wasn't in. The ball was down.
For all the outstanding things that Andrew Luck can do, certainly being honest with your head coach when you're trying to get in the end zone is probably another benefit. And on 4th down, back to receive for the Colts. He had a nice return last time. Levon Brazil, one of the backup receivers. There's Johnny Hecker with 10 minutes plus, and the Rams just want to run this clock down and get out of town with their 4th win of the year.
Listen, for all the bad things that have happened for Indianapolis today, I think Jarrell Freeman has played pretty well. The inside linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts, number 50, only in year number 2. He's been instrumental now in slowing down Zach Stacy in that run game.
He was the first player signed by general manager Ryan Grigson. He spent some time up in the Canadian Football League, played in a couple of Grey Cup games, and the Rams have used a timeout here before they kick it away. Well, the Rams hope to end this 3-game losing skid with backup quarterback Kellen Clemens. We know the Colts are a playoff team. Do the Rams have a shot if they make it to 4-6?
I don't count anybody out until they're mathematically eliminated here with St. Louis. They got a bye week next week. They'll go in if they can continue to hold on, feeling pretty good about themselves. They've got a running game. They play great defense. They can rush the passer. We see they got special teams play. Who knows? I mean, they took Seattle right to the brink.
And no longer a secret weapon with Tavon Austin as he had his breakout game here today. The Colts trail by 30. They'll have the football.
This game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Prep for game day by ordering online from Pizza Hut. Make it great.
In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 each to its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and help, visit NFL.com/salute. Just tugs at your heart every time you see one of our servicemen and women reunited with family members. On first down, Luck. Richardson. Out of bounds. Well, the Colts, a lot of points for the Rams today. The Colts losing, but Tennessee, the team that's 2 games behind them in the AFC South, at home, the Titans trailed winless Jacksonville 22-13 with under 8 minutes to play.
What did I say in the second quarter? In this league, I don't care who you are, play your best or get beat. No one ever saw that coming. We'll see what happens.
What a catch. Did he hang on? Griff Whalen, yes, but he's hurting.
And he took a hit, it looked like right on his right shoulder. I think it was Rodney McLeod coming over, who did a good job of avoiding taking a headshot on Griff Whalen. Nice throw by Andrew Luck out up over Will Witherspoon. There's Rodney McLeod right on the right shoulder, and that's where Griff Whalen takes it.
A 25-yard connection. Whalen slow to get up. Griff Whalen he's greeted by Chuck Pagano, making it over to the sideline after that tough hit and the first down catch. Second-year player from Stanford, but up and down from the practice squad. A good friend of Andrew Luck's from the college days to now. From the 13 of the Rams.
Davis. 290.
End zone. Intercepted. It was tipped in the air, and Will Witherspoon has it for the Rams.
Boy, what a break on the ball by Darian Stewart, the safety. And again, Andrew Luck, Chris, throwing with pressure in his face. Robert Quinn was bearing down on him. He throws a laser, and it was Darian Stewart, it looked like, the safety, who popped it up in the air for Will Witherspoon. Here's the hit. Robert Quinn hits him. The ball comes out, and that was Stewart, absolutely, that knocked it up in the air. It's been one of those days for the Indianapolis Colts.
He was trying to get it to Kobe Fleener. Those 3 interceptions, that equals a career high for most interceptions in a game for Andrew Luck, and this is his second season, and Jeff Fisher has the young quarterback and the Colts figured out.
And I think Will Witherspoon is out there. I wouldn't be surprised with this score, the way the game is. James Laurinaitis is on ice with his hip injury, and I think that's why we're seeing Will Witherspoon in the middle of the field playing middle linebacker.
Like 20. Like 20.
Just over 9 minutes to go. Zach Stacy with a promising run. Andrew Luck, 350-plus yards passing. That's his second 300-yard game of the season, the 8th of his career, but he wishes the scoreboard numbers were different.
And think about the turnovers today. He loses a fumble at the early part of the game, goes for a touchdown. 2 of the 3 interceptions were down in scoring position, throwing it into the end zone, and then they didn't get into the end zone on downs as he turned it over. I mean, they've had opportunities. As lopsided as this game has been, there's been point opportunities there for Indianapolis.
Coming back. Like 20. I guess.
On second down, Stacy fighting for a first down. Let's check in with Jennifer Hale for more on James Laurinaitis.
Well, Chris, tough day for Laurinaitis. In addition to that hip injury you mentioned, he's now back in the locker room getting a laceration in his ear area cleaned up. He is questionable. The Rams are thinking about bringing him back, but with the score this way, you have to wonder if they will or not.
Probably no need at this point, given the score and a bye week coming up before the Rams will host the Bears. That'll be Chris Long and Kyle Long going against each other. And then the Rams will be in San Francisco and Arizona.
White 20. White.
Stacy will lose yardage. Corey Redding making the play. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break.
You guys saw Riley Cooper last week throw those 7 touchdowns. He's got 3 more today against Green Bay. This one to Nick Foles, to Riley Cooper. 32-yard touchdown pass. Nick Foles now 16 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year. His team up by 2 scores. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. That is amazing, Foles. And that Eagle offense, they move so fast, it's tough to keep an eye on who's going where.
Yeah, and if you can't get pressure on the Philadelphia Eagles, who run more 5-man protection than anybody, which means 5 out, his receivers are too good, and Foles' accuracy, he's going to carve you up.
On second down, Stacy taking the tough yards. 25 carries in the game. He only has 61 yards rushing.
And it hasn't been good for him. A couple of instrumental runs. Let's give Indianapolis their run defense. The D lineman, Corey Redding, nice day. Jarrell Freeman behind him, nice day. But the impact of that running game is right there for the St. Louis Rams and chewing up the clock.
Other than the scoreboard, the turnover battle, Tim, you always talk about that. The Colts have turned it over 4 times, the Rams just once, because look at total yards. The Colts have more than the Rams. They also have had the ball more in time of possession. But they, on the scoreboard, by 30, they trail here in the 4th. The workhorse. We mentioned Adam Vinatieri, who has yet to have a point in this game, either an extra point or a field goal. He has played in 5 Super Bowls, and again will be 41 years old next month. The Colts' only touchdown, they went for the 2-point conversion and got it. A string of 154 straight regular season games in which Vinatieri has had at least a point. I think the Colts offense, you knew they would miss Reggie Wayne. You didn't realize how much, especially the way they were able to overcome the deficit last week in Houston.
I'll say one thing right now about Indianapolis, and as good as Andrew Luck is, and we talked about it in the open to start the game, as good as Andrew Luck is, and even without Reggie Wayne, we see T.Y. Hilton up over 100 again today. Kobe Fleener's a good player. He's got some complimentary guys. Luck makes his reads. He'll spread it out. Unless they figure out their run game and figure out how to get some running lanes opened up for Trent Richardson, I would not be picking this team to go far in the playoffs if and when they get there.
Fox tomorrow, the Horseman returns and brings the fight to America's favorite new drama, Sleepy Hollow. Critics rave it's hands down the craziest show on TV. An all-new episode tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Fox. Well, the Colts will play 2 out of their next 3 against the Titans, the closest team in their division. Hecker gets the punt away. Levon Brazil, fair catch wave for. And the Colts will take over on offense after a 47-yard punt. Quarterback change.
With the Rams dominating on the scoreboard, one has to wonder if there was a little extra inspiration this week for St. Louis. And indeed, Coach Jeff Fisher, the master of motivation, he had the gold-winning U.S. men's Paralympic hockey sled team into practice on Friday to speak with his players. The deal they struck, Rams win today. The Paralympic hockey team wins gold again in Russia. And Chris, so far it's looking good for both sides.
And Jeff Fisher, proud of the troops. Veterans, servicemen, servicewomen, has, even when it's not Veterans Day weekend, devotes a lot of time and energy and says his appreciation. Matt Hasselbeck is now in at quarterback. Andrew Luck done for the day. Hasselbeck, remember his years in Seattle where he led them to a Super Bowl. 3-time Pro Bowler, was with Tennessee to help develop Jake Locker. And they wanted him here, and Andrew Luck complimenting how much Hasselbeck has helped him as a pro. But Matt told me before the game, pregame warmups, he said, Andrew Luck teaches me a few things, the way he approaches the game. Here comes Laurinaitis back from the locker room. Daniel Herron in at running back. Hasselbeck to throw and right on target. Levon Brazil with the catch.
As I said earlier, and when Matt came out as a very late pick out of Boston College and went to Green Bay, and Mike Holmgren, they were just stacking those quarterbacks up. And of course, Coach Holmgren eventually took him to Seattle, where he thrived. No one would have ever anticipated a 15-year career for Matthew Hasselbeck.
Herron slips a tackle. He's in Ram territory. And there he goes. Inside the 5, Daniel Herron, the free agent from Ohio State, turning a simple flip from Hasselbeck into a big gainer.
Well, he gets a great block right after he catches the football. Watch Samson Satelli right here on Rocky McIntosh. That was the key block. And now Herron is going to shake off a tackle here from Darian Stewart. Good power and balance. Jack Doyle out there blocking in front of him, punches it down to the 3-yard line. Nice play.
57-yard gain. Herron gets knocked down on his way inside the 4-yard line. Want to go back to Andrew Luck, who finishes the day 29 out of 47, 353 yards, a touchdown, 3 interceptions, and lost the early fumble. So he will now in his career have won 17 of 25 starts, 10 of those fourth quarter or overtime comebacks. So we have an injured player. It's like Kendall Langford on the field.
And I'll tell you what, there is not going to be a lot of time to recover for this team and getting ready for that Thursday night game against Tennessee. And Tennessee surging right now against Jacksonville. That's now a 2-point game with more than 4 minutes to go.
The Colts, after Tennessee on Thursday, they'll be home against the Cardinals, and then the Titans come here to Indianapolis, and then they will play at Cincinnati. Second and goal from the 3. Hasselbeck in relief.
Go.
Daniel Herron the back.
Hurry.
End zone incomplete. Ball was tipped.
I don't think Brazil even knew it was coming. Great read from Hasselbeck. Running the inside slant. You run Kobe Fleener, the tight end, to the outside. Good route concept. And he threw it right at Levon Brazil. I don't think Brazil was ready for that football.
March 51. Lord. Mike. Go. 59.
From the 3, Hasselbeck, end zone throw. No. Brazil turned but couldn't hold on. Tremaine Johnson was with him. It'll be 4th and goal.
Matthew Hasselbeck is not going to miss reads. It's that simple. I mean, he brings a little receiver in motion. The defender comes with him to the left side. Immediately indicator, I got man coverage. So he knows he's got David Reed out there isolated up on the corner. He pushed the corner off. Matt threw the back shoulder throw.
I thought on March 51.
And Levon Brazil couldn't hold on to it.
On 4th and goal.
Go. 15. 59.
End zone. Ball was tipped.
And intercepted.
I didn't see who intercepted. William Hayes came up with the interception before it got to the end zone. And that has fans heading to the exit. William Hayes, after the loss to Tennessee last week, was upset. Let's see what happened on the play, because it's batted in the air.
I think they had Ogletree coming off the edge and dropping the inside defensive player William Hayes, who happened to be the recipient of that ball batted up in the air.
And Hayes last week, the former Titan, he was upset with that loss to him in the locker room. He cut his forearm, required stitches, attacking a mirror because he was so upset in a game he thought the Rams could have won, should have won, just like the week before against Seattle, and they did not.
Well, you like that anger, but I'd be attacking other things other than the mirror.
Yeah, you're looking at yourself in the mirror.
No, come on.
Especially
maybe some soft sheetrock on the wall in there.
Look at Benny Cunningham. Can anybody get to him inside the 40? Finally, Antoine Bethea.
I'll tell you what, Jake Long and the left side of this offensive line, let's just focus on these guys and in particular that double team, and let's see what happens.
The 56-yard run, and Tim, that's Chris Williams and Jake Long. They were both drafted. Those are high first-round picks from other teams, the Dolphins and Bears, that somehow the Rams have ended up with.
Yeah, and they paid Jake a lot of money. They're paying not much for Chris Williams trying to rehab his career. Jake has been terrific in terms of that power running game, and as a matter of fact, they had Shelley Smith out there as well next to Jake Long. That's going to be hard to stop now. They're going to run it again.
Cunningham knocked down. We've talked about the history of this franchise. You know, Tim, you said you weren't even aware the Rams and Colts franchises historically intertwined. In 1972, Robert Irsay purchased the Los Angeles Rams. Irsay and Baltimore Colts then owner Carroll Rosenblum then, in a unique move, swapped franchises, giving Irsay control of the Colts and Rosenblum, the Rosenblum family, control of the Rams.
I think a lot of people don't know that fact. That's neat.
And we are approaching the 2-minute warning here in Indianapolis, where they have had one Super Bowl and they're in the bid for another. The Colts came into this game leading the NFL with the fewest giveaways or turnovers, only 6 through the first 8 games in their 6-2 record, but 5 today. 3 interceptions and the lost fumble by Luck, and then the interception moments ago. And that's contributed to a Ram 38-8 lead here. Zach Stacy has carried 27 times. Now Cunningham in relief of him, helping to chew up the clock and wind things down for the Rams, who will go to 4-6 before the bye week. State Farm post-game program is coming up. Jacksonville has scored to build a 9-point lead over Tennessee with 2.5 minutes left. Giants beat the Raiders.
You just saw Robert Quinn, who has had a great game, the pass rusher for the St. Louis Rams. And he'll have the St. Louis Rams, there he is there, he'll have the St. Louis Rams sack record in his mind, which is 17, I believe, in 1999 by Kevin Carter. Robert Quinn's got a great chance of smashing that record.
Like 20.
Cunningham carries. The Colts will fall to 6-3 with that Thursday night game against Tennessee, and again they'll face the Titans 2 of the next 3 weeks, which they could wrap the division up even with the defeat today. And the fact that Tennessee at home is now trailing by 9 to Jacksonville with 2.5 to play.
Yeah, and 2 times in 3 weeks is going to be interesting. Chuck Pagano will do a good job of having his team ready to play 4 days from now. I don't think there's any question about that. And they can defend the run. We see Chris Johnson has gotten cranked up over the last couple of weeks. He'll have a tough sledding against this Indianapolis team. Indy, just as you said, I mean, they'll be going against a good defense. It'll be about ball security and turnovers and not committing too many penalties.
Bonus coverage.
Come down.
Excuse me, Tim. Bonus coverage of the Eagles-Packers game from Green Bay coming up with the red-hot Nick Foles in Philadelphia leading that game. The State Farm post-game show coming up as well. You know, Jeff Fisher, when you talk with him, you have time in production meetings over the last couple of times. He's mentioned 3 different movies with us that he has helped reference things to his team to get them ready, from The Jerk, Caddyshack. Captain Phillips got a mention last night.
It was a double feater yesterday, right? It was Caddyshack and Captain Phillips.
He's always got a teaching lesson in there somewhere for his young Rams, and today they passed with flying colors. He'll like this movie. It's called 38-8 Rams in Indianapolis. 24 seconds remaining. Don't forget Fox Sports Live on FS1 with all the highlights of not only the NFL games, NBA, NHL, and more of that conversation on the NFL on Fox pregame show. Jay Glazer with Richie Incognito. It's been the talk of the league and far beyond, and nice to hear from someone who's actually involved directly in between the Martin Incognito incident.
Well, Glaze gets it right, and that's why you got to respect him. He works his tail off to get it right and has a bunch of relationships around the league. He's a huge asset for us.
Well, the fans have hung in there for the most part, disappointed in Indianapolis, but Ram fans are smiling as they end a 3-game losing skid, and the Colts fall to now 6-3. The Rams with a 38-8 victory, improved to 4-6.